Say, excuse me.
Excuse me.
The film begins with Cain entering his brother Lincoln's office, where he faces the resentment of Lincoln's friends due to their loss on a boxing wager. Cain tried to justify the loss, but they were solely focused on the money they had lost. Subsequently, Cain asked Lincoln for a loan to leave the gang life and start a new project. Lincoln refused the request, conditioning the loan upon Cain working with him in the criminal enterprises he hated, and advised him to see his partner, Hyde, to learn about the nature of the job and the financial compensation. Cain went to meet Hyde, who assigned him an unusual task: to steal a bag of money from a woman right after she collected it. Cain was taken aback but agreed as he had no other option. At the police station, Cain insisted to the chief of police that his role was limited to theft, and he had no involvement in the woman's death. Cain was shocked when the officer revealed the details of his brother Lincoln's shady business, explaining that he relied on a fraudulent scheme, lending people money and then immediately stealing it back to force them to repay the debt. The officer offered Cain a reduced sentence and victim status if he would confess against his brother, but Cain strongly refused to inform on Lincoln, clinging to his family loyalty despite his full realization of his brother's injustice and crimes. Another officer, frustrated by Cain's stance, dragged him into a separate room, handcuffed him, and beat him violently to force a confession. Despite the brutality, Cain refused to utter a word. Angered by his defiance, the officers denied him legal representation. Consequently, Cain was sentenced to 5 years, and due to the fatality involved in the crime, he was incarcerated in the country's most notoriously violent prison, known as Hell. While walking through the prison, an inmate stood in his way and suddenly attacked him, beating him violently in an attempt to kill him. Cain was taken to the prison hospital, where the doctor treated him and fitted him with silver teeth to replace the broken ones. Cain liked his new teeth because they made his appearance more terrifying. Afterwards, his mother visited him and was shocked by his transformation, especially since he had always been the obedient son, unlike his brother Lincoln. Cain reassured her that he was well and asked her to tell his brother Lincoln to visit him, as he needed to speak with him. After the visit, Cain returned to his cell and used his time for intensive training in preparation for what was coming. As soon as he was released, he was surprised by an armed attack from 2 inmates who had surrounded him. Although he was merely defending himself, Cain was taken to court. He tried to convince the judge that he was fighting for his life and requested a transfer to another prison to avoid being killed, but the judge disregarded his plea. Cain utilized his period in solitary confinement for intense daily training until he reached his peak strength. After his isolation ended, he engaged in a fierce fight with the inmates as usual. After defeating them, he interrogated an injured prisoner to uncover the true reason behind the attacks. His brother Lincoln had placed a $20,000 bounty on his head inside the prison. Cain was stunned by this discovery, unable to believe that the brother he sacrificed for was now trying to eliminate him. Despite knowing the reason, Cain continued to fight almost daily, growing stronger with every bout. The violence escalated as the number of attackers increased, but he always managed to defeat them despite repeated injuries. After every fight, he was taken to the hospital and then to court, where the judge would sentence him to an additional 2 years, including months in solitary. This harsh pattern continued for 3 full years. Throughout this period, Cain would always start his day with a fight against the inmates and end it in the prison infirmary to treat his injuries. He became the most infamous prisoner in the facility, feared by most of the inmates. One day, his mother visited and informed him she was suffering from cancer and that the coming period would be difficult, stating her wish for him to be by her side, as her health would prevent future visits. Cain was deeply affected by her words and refrained from mentioning his brother Lincoln or his role in his imprisonment, knowing that such distress could worsen her condition. During one of his hospital stays, the police chief visited, revealing that he knew Lincoln wanted Cain dead, despite Cain's refusal to inform on him. The chief advised him once more to confess and be relieved of his suffering. Cain agreed, but stipulated one condition: permission to visit his gravely ill mother in the hospital. The chief consented and took him to the hospital. Immediately upon arrival, Cain was shattered to be informed by the doctors that his mother had died 20 minutes earlier. Her condition had been critical, and nothing could be done. Despite all the terrible things he had endured, his mother was the one solace that made it all bearable. He requested, and was granted, permission to see her one last time before returning to the prison. Following the visit, while descending in the hospital elevator, Cain brutally killed both guards and escaped quickly before anyone could notice. Cain observed people on the street, and upon seeing a man enter a public restroom, he followed him, took his clothes, and emerged wearing a new outfit to avoid detection. He began his path of revenge, starting with the corrupt officer who had assaulted him earlier. Next, Cain went to Lincoln's accountant, threatening to kill him and his family unless he transferred all of Lincoln's money to the people he had stolen from, including the woman who died in the car accident, as atonement for her unjust death. The terrified accountant immediately complied, moving all funds and leaving only $1,500 in Lincoln's account. Cain then headed to the bar where Lincoln's gang and his partner Hyde gathered for the final confrontation. He knocked out the 2 guards at the door and entered the bar calmly, ordering a drink as if he were a regular customer, quickly realizing everyone present belonged to the gang. When the 2 guards recovered and rushed him, Cain was faster and overcame them. He produced a rifle, fired a warning shot into the ceiling, and threatened to kill anyone who made a reckless move. Hyde emerged from his room, irritated by the noise, only to find Cain aiming the rifle at him. Cain frisked him and ordered him to stand with the rest of the gang or face death. Hyde focused on Cain's transformed appearance and was stunned to realize he was Lincoln's brother, asking how he escaped so quickly. Cain revealed he fled after his mother's death to seek justice and revenge on all of them. The rest of the gang was visibly terrified, having heard tales of his savagery in prison, calling him mad due to his dangerous nature. Cain informed Hyde that he knew about the $20,000 bounty they had placed on him, but his time in Hell Prison had transformed him from the quiet Cain they knew into a savage beast no one could handle. He ordered Hyde to call Lincoln immediately, without revealing Cain's presence. Hyde complied, calling Lincoln and claiming there were issues at work. Lincoln arrived with his men. Upon entering, he was shocked to see Cain aiming the rifle at Hyde, and Cain ordered him to join the gang quietly, warning that any rash move would result in Hyde's death. Lincoln was stunned by Cain's actions and understood that his brother knew about the murder plot. Lincoln attempted to deceive him, claiming they were brothers and he would never try to kill him. Cain then revealed that he had killed the corrupt officer and transferred all of Lincoln's bank money to the poor people he had robbed, those whose dreams he stole and left indebted due to his greed. Upon hearing this, Lincoln went mad and confessed that he did want Cain dead, vowing that Cain would not leave the bar alive after what he had done. Mid-conversation, The waitress struck Cain over the head with a bottle, and the entire gang violently attacked him. After defeating them all, he stood before his brother at the bar and took a celebratory drink, laughing at his success in defeating the entire crew alone. Suddenly, Lincoln aimed a pistol at him, declaring this the end. Cain asked why he had done all this, and Lincoln responded shockingly. People stopped respecting him after he started losing boxing matches, and therefore he no longer needed Cain. Lincoln fired, but was surprised when the gun was empty. He then lunged at Cain with a knife, but Cain was stronger and faster, stabbing Lincoln in the stomach. His brother fell to the floor and died instantly. Cain looked at the waitress, apologized for the trouble, and walked out, suffering from his injuries. He sat down away from the bar, content that he had exacted his revenge and, crucially, restored the rights of all the people his brother and his gang had exploited for years. We hope you enjoyed this summary. Please subscribe, like the video, and leave your comments below. We'll see you soon with more action-packed movie summaries.